crafters, welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name's Katelyn and today I'm going to show you how to hem jeans. So let's get started.
So the first thing you can see that I've done here with these jeans is I've folded them up while the person was wearing them. And at the time I didn't have any pins, so I used some bobby pins, which is definitely a hack you can use if you don't have pins on hand. But the next thing I'm doing is taking my pins and putting them along the fold of where I have them held up, which is the length that I want them to be. So when I folded them up on my boyfriend, they were just touching the floor at the back of his heel. So I'm removing my bobby pins since I don't need those anymore. Now I'm going to fold the pants in their natural position, folded right side out, and I'm going to look at that shiny spot where the pins are, and I'm going to measure each spot to see how much needs to come off of the jeans. So once I measure each spot, I'm going to take the average or the longest length there so that the pants will be longest, so it'll be the shortest length measured. So here I'm seeing about 3 3/4 is how much they need to be shorter. But now I need to take into account the original hem and take that away from that amount so that I have enough to turn up my hem seam allowance. So I'm going to make sure that my pants are nice and flat and even, and I'm going to put a pin at that original measurement, which is how much shorter the pants needed to be. So this will be the finished length of the jeans. Again, I'm going to make sure my hems are lined up and they are sitting nice and flat. And I'm going to use my wide ruler to then add the seam allowance amount for my hem while lining up with my pins to make sure it's nice and straight. So I've added 1.5 inches to the finished hem amount. Then I'm going to take my rotary cutter and cut off the excess. Now I'm going to repeat the same process to the other pant leg. So again, I'm just pinning the finished hem length of the jeans, making sure that they are nice and flat and the hems are pulled straight together. And then taking my flat ruler and cutting off the same amount for my seam allowance for my hem. And I'm taking it over to the iron, and as you can see, the shiny parts on the inside of the pants from the pins. So I'm going to use that as a guide to make my first fold for my hem. So once I have that first fold, which is the edge of the jeans touching the shiny part of the pins where I've put them previously, now I'm going to fold it again, and now the pin will be on the very edge of the pant, which is the finished length. Then I'm going to take that pin out and fold it over that second fold and use the pin to hold the fold in place, so when I go and sew it, it is held in the proper spot. And then I'll just give it a quick press so that it's nice and flat, so it's easier to put through my machine. Now if you have a thicker pair of jeans, I definitely recommend using an industrial machine with a thicker needle. I wouldn't necessarily try and put this through a domestic, especially if one of the seams is a flat felled seam, because once you double fold it, that is a lot of layers to go through. So if your jeans are more like a jegging or stretched denim, that should be a little bit easier to go through your domestic machine. Just make sure you're using a size 14 or 16 needle or a denim needle. So again, here I am with the other pant leg, folding it up once, matching the edge of the jean up to the shiny part of the pin that I can see from the inside of the pant. Then I'm folding it down a second time and using the pin that's on the outer edge for the finished length to hold that fold down in place so it's ready when I take it over to my sewing machine. So another tip when sewing denim is to definitely use some thicker thread that looks like the original thread on the denim, which is what I have here. And also something different I'm doing is I'm sewing from the top side, so I'm making sure that underneath I have enough to catch the fold, but this way I'm able to make sure that the hem looks even from the outside, just in case my seam allowance got pressed slightly uneven. If I were to sew it from the underside, then I wouldn't be able to see the top. And when I get to this flat felled seam on the side, I like to roll it just using the wheel on the side and my hand because this area is really thick, and sometimes when you use the pedal and you go through it very fast, the needle can break because it can hit the plate on the bottom, or it ends up pushing the flat felled seam forward, and then you end up with a lot of excess on the top and not enough on the bottom to have a flat hem. So that's why I like to roll over that thick area. Once I get to where I started, I like to make sure that my threads are out of the way, and I'll do a very small back tack. And I cut my threads nice and long because I like to go from the bottom and pull the bobbin thread side to side, which ends up pulling the loop from the top side, which is the top thread, down to the back. So I can cut all of my threads from the bottom, and that way I don't have any loose little pieces of thread sticking out of the top of the hem. As you can see here, it did skip a stitch right beside where that flat felled seam is, which is really common. As it's going down the hill, as I like to say, it's not able to catch the bobbin thread. So I take the same thread that I'm sewing with, and I go from the bottom and sew a few little knot stitches over one of the stitches that is already there before the skip stitch, and I go up from the bottom towards the top and make a small little stitch in the center of the skip stitch so it looks like the bobbin thread has come up to catch it. Then I just make a few more knot stitches to hold the thread in place, and then it looks like that it was just originally sewn with no skips. Once I feel that is nice and secure, I will just cut the excess thread away. And here's another view from the other pant leg. And here is a final look at the jean hem. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. You can definitely put some of these tips towards other hems. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below and let me know what you're currently sewing. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next time, crafters. Bye!